I remember not long ago, I was waking up from, a 2 hour nap at 6 in the morning, and I would instantly go on my phone and try to scroll on TikTok, see what's going on, see the new trends, see, news. That wasn't long ago. That was maybe, I'd say last year, like a year ago, exactly a year ago. I was in my bed right here, and I woke up and I just had this thought that I wasn't doing enough for myself. Like I wasn't being useful to anyone. And that kind of pushed me into what I'm doing now. I literally averaged like 8 to 10 hours of screen time a day. That was almost double how much I slept. That was when I saw how much time I was spending on like TikTok and Clash Royale and these fucking games and social media apps. I was I was genuinely terrified. I knew something had to change, but because I wasn't strong and I wasn't disciplined back then, I never had the courage to stop because it was my safe place. It was the time that I had spent like every hour of the day. What I did. If I was stressed, I'd go on there. Anxiety, yeah. Depression, go yes. Sadness, yeah. I'd be on there 24/7, and I think that's kind of what social media companies use to trap you, because imagine you're in a difficult time, right? You don't have money, or maybe you're having an existential crisis, and someone all of a sudden comes in and steps up and was like, "Hey, want some money? Hey, want some help? Want some advice?" And then they give you the best advice of your life. You would look up to them, right? You would believe every single word they said, like forever. That's what social media does because it's so easily accessible to anyone. Anyone can get it, anyone can use it. It's free. So people are using it more and more often as a means to escaping reality, as a means to, like, I don't know, fucking enter the matrix, like be in a virtual world and not do anything. That's what social media nowadays is like. And back when it was like TikTok was, musically or some shit, it wasn't that serious. But now that they've improved the algorithm and they've, improved how they track your data and how they give you content that you like, it's a lot more dangerous. Like I'm a sophomore now. I'm almost 16, but when I was 14 to 15, last year, 2022, I could remember certain days when I would wake up, go on my phone, stay there for maybe half an hour to an hour, get up, take a little shower, a warm shower at like 11 a.m. in the morning, and then come into my room and start binge watching anime or YouTube, or maybe just go on playing some video games or whatever. I still remember those days, and it frustrates me so much that I was like that. The fact that I had done all those things that I'm trying to stop, it kind of saddens me, but it also pushes me forward because I know I'm in a better place now. I know that I'm improving, that I'm making myself and my future more comfortable with, doing the hard things and not always seeking comfort, not always seeking instant gratification. We all know what that is, right? Like when you're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or whatever you use, that's what happens. Instant gratification. You just get this instant boost of like dopamine, of fucking serotonin or something, because you're always anticipating what video is going to come up next. That's what dopamine is. It's not what happens, but it's the kind of like the slope going up to the climax. Right? When you're jerking off, when you're watching porn, and you're almost to climax, you're almost gonna nut. That's when the dopamine is the highest. Not when you nut, but when you're almost. That's what dopamine is. Many people like misunderstand what dopamine is, and they think it's just when you do an action that makes you happy. It's not. It's very far from that. My name is Nathan, and it is clear that we need to make our next generation of young men stronger than ever before. because if we are going to advance at the pace that our world is right now, there is no future for the human race in the next 200, 300 years. There simply isn't. Like, we're past, I'm going to go into a little bit of history and science here, but we're past Earth's carrying capacity, which is how many people it can actually support, how many resources there are to support how many people, right? Our Earth's carrying capacity is 10 billion people, estimated. We are at past 8 billion people. And in the next 50 years, there's expected to be a drop in our population because, like, I'd say like more than maybe half of our population now is like below the ages of 20 and 30. We're, like, most of our generation is young, but that also means that when the people who worked for our previous generation, when the people who fought in wars, when those strong people die, when they go away, who's going to run this world? Who is going to pay the bills? Who's going to go work a 9-to-5 job? Who's going to build the roads? Who's going to maintain the world? We are. Our next generation is responsible for keeping our next generation safe, for keeping it habitable. That's what I keep stressing about, because from the looks of it, you know, when my school, right, I have a couple of friends there who, you know, I'm with the entire day, and even the ones who are like, they're good people. You know, one of my good buddies always goes to the gym with me, but he's like, he keeps being on social media all the time we're in the gym. That's the problem. And, you know, I'm not saying that he's a bad person, but he has these perfections, right? He's a bit stronger than me, obviously, but I feel like in the sense of mental health and just honestly physical health, I think I'm ahead, right? Because I'm not attached to social media like other people are. I'm past that. Like, I've set myself a couple of goals here, right? I've literally taped my phone to the windows so I can't really move it, but right there, my September like days, right? I have like September at the top and then like columns, right? Days, and then, you know, the goals I want to achieve. So right now I have gym, read, meditate, and work. Those 4 things are on there right now. And granted, it's only been the second day, but yesterday I completed 3 of the 4. My goal by the end of the month is to get that up to all 4. All 4 getting completed in for at least 10 days in a row. That's my goal. But I'm not like trying to make excuses for myself if I fail or not, right? If I fail, I fail. No excuses. Even if though that situation that I was in wasn't under my control, I still fail. That's also one of the main ideas of the book I'm reading right now, which I'll grab for you in a second. Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I've read up to like page like 50 or so it's really not that much. But one of the first rules that's mentioned in there is stand up straight with your shoulders back. You know, I'll read a couple of verses from this book because I honestly feel like it's really important to know. To stand up straight with your shoulders back means building the ark that protects the world from the flood, guiding your people through the desert after they have escaped tyranny, making your way away from comfortable home and country, and speaking the prophetic word to those who ignore the widows and children. To stand up straight with your shoulders back is to accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. It means deciding to voluntarily transform the chaos of potential into the realities of habitable order. It means adopting the burden of self-conscious vulnerability and accepting the end of the unconscious paradise of childhood, where finitude and mortality are only dimly comprehended. That last one right there, where it says, accepts the terrible responsibility of the world with eyes wide open. That's one of the traits that makes us men. That's what we need to know. That's what is going to literally push this world forward, to make it spin. Now, for those of you out there who haven't yet gotten this book, and which if you haven't, I really highly recommend this. But basically, standing up straight with your shoulders back, it means to, like, whatever's thrown at you, whatever obstacle, whatever tragic event happens in your life, you have the ability to still stand up straight with your shoulders back, to exert confidence, exert your, power, even during those hard times. That's one of the most masculine traits of men. At least it should be. Because one simple tragedy should not affect the trajectory of our life. It should not mean that we aren't able to do what we want. It shouldn't be like that. It should affect you, yes. Like if one of your parents unfortunately passed away, yes, you should be sad, right? But that doesn't mean you should stop in your tracks and start drinking, doing drugs, because that's not good for you, obviously. But you feel so bad about yourself if you're using these tragedies as an excuse to you drinking and doing drugs. We as young men need to start accepting these terrible facts, these terrible events, whether it be the death of maybe a pet, the death of a friend, maybe the passing of a family member. It doesn't matter what it is, but regardless, we need to move on. We can't stay clung to the past, and we can't stay longing for the future. You have to live in the moment. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Live in the moment. That's how you're going to get the most gratitude out of what you do. That's how you're going to get the most fun out of what you do, right? If you're trying to see into the future and you're overthinking about everything that's going to happen, if you're overthinking about an exam, right? What can you do to prepare for that exam? Study. Great. So now you don't need to worry. What if it's a private matter, right? What can you do? If you can do something, great. If you can't do anything, so what? Don't worry about the future, because it does not bring you any good. It does not do any good to worry about the past nor the future, because you cannot change either. Well, you can change your future, but you can't change your past. But you don't know how the future is going to be, what it's going to be like. So why bother? Why matter? Why worry about things you can't change? That's actually one of the main problems that I have, is that I'm still kind of paranoid about like everything. I'm paranoid about what I'm going to do, right? For like when I woke up this morning, I didn't know whether I was going to go to the gym or record a video, but here I am recording a video, and I'm planning on going to the gym soon. So that's great. But we go back to that feeling of when you're doing something productive, when you're planning on doing something productive, you can't help but think of, oh, what if I don't go? What if I just skip the gym? What if I don't make videos? We always think about that because we look at ourselves too negatively, which kind of brings us into the next topic of this video. But there really isn't any topics because I'm just jumping around everything here. But like, I don't have a script for the video right now. I'm literally saying everything I mean as I go along. But I do hope that you find at least some part of this video useful to you. But the next part of this video, we're going to talk about really why we treat ourselves so negatively. Why we, like, for example, let's say your pet gets sick, right? You're going to take them to the vet. You're going to give them medicine. You're going to care for them. You're going to hold them in your arms, right? You're going to make life as comfortable as you can for them. But when we get sick, for some reason, it's the exact opposite. Sometimes we just don't take the medicine. Sometimes we still go outside when we're not supposed to, right? Why do we do that? This is actually one of the other topics of this book, which is see if I can find it here. I believe it is called Treat Yourself Like Someone You're Responsible for Helping. Treat yourself like someone who you're responsible for helping. That's kind of the golden rule, right? Treat yourself how you want to be treated. For some reason, our imperfections, right? We know how imperfect we are. We know what we've done. We know our mistakes, our flaws, our weaknesses. We know that. And that kind of makes us devalue ourselves. That makes us like hit ourselves. That makes us push ourselves to the point where sometimes you don't even get what's done. You don't even get like work done. You don't get anything from pushing yourself. And that's really a problem of our society, is that we don't appreciate ourselves, right? Before you focus on helping other people, you need to focus on helping yourself. Because otherwise, how are you going to know that what you're teaching other people is going to work? How are you going to know? You're not going to know. So you need to focus on yourself first and foremost, right? To you, like, to me, I know my flaws. I know my weaknesses. I know I'm not perfect. And sometimes that leads to me like hitting myself, literally and metaphorically. It leads to me, telling myself I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not perfect, obviously, but I'm not good enough for this. Thinking negatively on yourself can have such diverse impacts on your physical health and your mental health. If your mental health isn't good, you're not going to be able to do daily tasks like going to the gym or reading a book or meditating or doing productive things. You're not going to be able to do that. So that's why often I believe that having a good mental health, having gratitude and serotonin constantly flowing through your body is so good for you. It's so beautiful. It feels so good, right? When you're able to be grateful for things, random things, you can't help but smile, right? You can't help but just get that serotonin in your body flowing, and it feels so good. But because we hate ourselves, right? Some people hate themselves. I do. I hate a part of myself. But some people hate themselves so much to the point where they won't eat anything. They won't drink any water. They'll starve themselves because they think they're not good enough. And that's all about mental health. It's all because they don't think they're good enough, right? If you met a stranger and they were starving and they needed some water and you had both of those things to give to them, wouldn't you? Right? Wouldn't you want to help out someone else? Yeah, of course you would. If your pet was whining and crying, you would help them out. You'd comfort them. But if the same was happening to you, if you were starving or you were thirsty and you weren't comfortable, what would you do? Some people just neglect it. They would literally tell themselves to shut the fuck up and just go through with it. But now we're kind of in the topic of self-improvements, and genuinely that's one of the more important things. That's the most important thing, in my opinion, that a man needs to master, right? It's not about going to the gym, but really, if you are trying to go to the gym, what do you need to do first? You need to discipline yourself in order to go to the gym. You need to have a good mental health in order to be productive, in order to do tasks every single day. That's why mental health is so much more important than everything else you value. And only because everything else that's important to you falls under mental health. So if you're trying to do self-improvement and perhaps you've failed, right? You've failed NoFap maybe, or you're not able to do self-improvement. Maybe something happened. That's mainly, sometimes it's just mental health, right? It could very well just be your mental health and the fact that, you're not disciplined enough to go forward with the things you said you're going to do. You're not really pushing yourself enough to do what you said you're going to do, right? If you said you're going to go to the gym, if you're going to take a cold shower every single day, if you said that and you still fail, why do you think that is? It's because either you don't have confidence in yourself or you just don't want to do it, right? Both of those things really aren't good for you. But really, mental health is way too broad to cover in one video. So I'm gonna have to make another one based solely off of mental health. So stay tuned for that one. But I think that's about it for this video. You know, as I said before, I don't have a script right now. Like, well, for this video, I don't have a script. I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind, right? But I hope, once again, I really do hope that you found some part of this video helpful to you. And if you've come this far, thank you for supporting me. And if there's anything I can do to improve my videos, right, more editing or just general like better lighting or anything, just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to improve. But that's about it. Thanks for watching, and stay safe, stay different.